The Mongol invasions of Southeast Asia, consequences and the resistance of kingdoms, Dai Viet, Pagan, Java. Introduction, the Mongol shadow over the southern seas. In the late 13th century, the world trembled under the thunder of Mongol hooves. From the steppes of Central Asia, the largest contiguous empire in history had swept across Eurasia, conquering vast lands and establishing the formidable Yuan dynasty in China under Kublai Khan. With China subdued, Kublai Khan's ambitions stretched further south, towards the rich trading kingdoms and fertile lands of Southeast Asia. Unlike their swift land conquests, the Mongol ventures into Southeast Asia were met with tenacious resistance, challenging the very notion of Mongol invincibility. These campaigns, often naval in nature and in unfamiliar tropical terrain, would test the limits of Mongol military might. This episode explores the Mongol invasions of key Southeast Asian kingdoms, Dai Viet, Pagan, and Java, examining the fierce resistance they faced, the unique challenges the Mongols encountered, and the lasting consequences that reshaped the region's history. Chapter 1, Dai Viet, the Resilient Dragon's Roar. The kingdom of Dai Viet, ruled by the Tran dynasty, faced no less than 3 major Mongol invasions between 1258 and 1288. Each time, they successfully repelled the invaders through brilliant strategy and fierce national unity. First invasion, the initial Mongol objective was to secure a southern flank for their invasion of the Song dynasty. Though the capital Tang Long was briefly occupied, the Tran court employed a scorched earth policy and strategic retreat. The Vietnamese forces, led by King Tran Tai Tong, quickly regrouped and, using their knowledge of the difficult terrain and guerrilla tactics, launched counterattacks that forced the Mongols to withdraw. Second invasion, after conquering the Song dynasty, Kublai Khan launched a massive second invasion, aiming to fully subjugate Dai Viet and use it as a base for further expansion. Led by the brilliant General Tran Hung Dao, the Vietnamese adopted a strategy of strategic withdrawal, avoiding direct confrontation with the superior Mongol cavalry. They evacuated Tang Long, depleting the land of resources, and waited for the tropical climate and disease to wear down the Mongol forces. Key victories, like the battles of Chuangjiung and Tai Ket, crippled Mongol supply lines and inflicted heavy casualties. Third invasion, determined to avenge previous defeats, Kublai Khan sent an even larger expedition, including a formidable navy. Tran Hung Dao anticipated their naval approach and employed the legendary Battle of Bok Dang River. He ordered the planting of sharpened wooden stakes, reinforced with iron tips, into the riverbed. At high tide, the Mongol fleet sailed in. As the tide receded, the stakes impaled their ships, trapping them while Vietnamese forces launched devastating attacks from all sides, leading to a crushing Mongol defeat and the destruction of much of their fleet. Consequences for Dai Viet. Preservation of independence. Dai Viet largely maintained its independence, though it did agree to send nominal tribute to the Yuan dynasty to avoid further conflict. This allowed the Tran dynasty to consolidate its power and national identity. Strengthening of national identity. The successful resistance fostered a strong sense of national pride and unity that would resonate throughout Vietnamese history. Military innovation. The Tran dynasty developed sophisticated strategies, particularly in riverine warfare, demonstrating adaptability against a seemingly invincible foe. Chapter 2, Pagan, the Decline of an Empire. The mighty Pagan Empire, renowned for its thousands of Buddhist temples, also faced Mongol incursions, beginning in the late 1270s. Unlike Dai Viet, Pagan's internal weaknesses contributed significantly to its eventual collapse. Initial demands for tribute. Kublai Khan first demanded tribute from Pagan in 1271 to 1272. King Narathihabad defiantly refused, famously earning the moniker Taok Pi Min. Border skirmishes and internal weakness. Mongol forces from Yunnan began a series of border engagements in 1277. Pagan's large, but increasingly undisciplined and internally fractured army, weakened by excessive temple building that diverted resources and manpower, was unable to effectively resist the more organized Mongol assaults. The fall of Pagan City, a major Mongol invasion in 1287 saw Narathihabad flee his capital, leading to the sacking of Pagan City. While the Mongols did not establish direct long-term rule, their invasion accelerated the empire's decline and led to its political disintegration. Consequences for Pagan. Collapse of the Pagan Empire. The Mongol invasions were a significant catalyst, if not the sole cause, of the Pagan Empire's collapse. The central authority disintegrated, ushering in a long period of political fragmentation. Rise of Shan states. The power vacuum left by Pagan's demise led to the proliferation and rise of various Taishan states throughout central and northern Burma. These states, often encouraged by the Mongols as a buffer, would dominate the region for centuries. End of a golden age. The invasions marked the end of Pagan's golden age of temple building and centralized Theravada Buddhist power, leading to a more decentralized religious and political landscape. Chapter 3, Java, a tactical retreat and the rise of Majapahit. Kublai Khan's final major overseas expedition targeted the powerful island kingdom of Singasari in Java in 1293. This invasion was a punitive expedition for the Javanese king Kertanegara's insult to a Mongol envoy. The diplomatic incident. In 1289, Kublai Khan sent an envoy to Java demanding tribute. Kertanegara defiantly rejected the demand and reportedly mutilated the envoy's face, provoking Mongol wrath. The Mongol expedition, a large Mongol naval and ground force, estimated between 20,000 to 30,000 soldiers, was dispatched in 1292. However, by the time they arrived in Java in 1293, Kertanegara had already been overthrown and killed by a rival, Jayakatwang, from the Kadiri kingdom. Raden Wijaya's deception. Kertanegara's son-in-law, Raden Wijaya, a shrewd survivor, saw an opportunity. He formed a tactical alliance with the unsuspecting Mongols, offering to help them defeat Jayakatwang in exchange for their support. After Jayakatwang's defeat, Wijaya cleverly turned on his Mongol allies. Guerrilla warfare and withdrawal. Wijaya's forces, using their intimate knowledge of the dense Javanese jungles and difficult terrain, launched surprise attacks and ambushes against the unsuspecting Mongol troops. Coupled with the debilitating effects of the tropical climate, disease, and stretched supply lines, the Mongol generals, after significant losses, decided to withdraw their forces from Java. Consequences for Java. Failure of Mongol conquest. The Java invasion was a significant defeat for the Mongols and the last major overseas expedition attempted by Kublai Khan. It demonstrated the severe limitations of Mongol power in maritime and tropical environments far from their continental heartland. Rise of the Majapahit Empire. Raden Wijaya, having eliminated both Jayakatwang and tricked the Mongols, emerged as the undisputed ruler of Java. He subsequently founded the powerful Majapahit Empire, which would become the dominant maritime power in Southeast Asia for the next 2 centuries. Limited direct impact. While militarily defeated, the Mongols did leave behind some technological influences, notably in shipbuilding techniques and possibly early forms of gunpowder weapons, which the Javanese later adapted. Conclusion. The limits of an empire. The Mongol invasions of Southeast Asia in the late 13th century represent a crucial chapter in the region's history. While the Mongol Empire stretched vast and formidable, its attempts to extend its dominion into the humid, riverine, and maritime realms of Southeast Asia largely met with failure. The resistance of kingdoms like Dai Viet, Pagan, and Java, though varied in outcome, collectively highlighted the challenges posed by unfamiliar environments, resilient local leadership, and innovative defensive strategies against even the most powerful military force of its time. These invasions, rather than ushering in Mongol rule, often catalyzed significant internal changes, strengthening national identities, prompting political fragmentation, or inadvertently laying the groundwork for new, powerful empires. The Mongol shadow cast over Southeast Asia ultimately revealed not just the might of their empire, but also its geographical and logistical limits. What do you think was the most surprising aspect of the Mongol invasions of Southeast Asia? Share your thoughts in the comments below.